Hello YouTube, it's Pacman here, and today we will talk about adding ads to the app using Google AdMob. So if you like the video and you like my channel, then please subscribe to it and give a like. So I guess that we can just start without any more small talk. So let's go to the agenda. First of all, I will show you how to add an app in Google AdMob. Remember that you need to have an account in Google AdMob to do that. It's fairly easy to create it there. Second of all, I will show you how to add an ad unit to Google AdMob. However, probably I will show you first how to integrate Google AdMob in our application. And last but not least, we will create our actual app ad in our Torchlight application that we have created in the first video that you uploaded, that you can find in the Flutter live tutorials playlist on my channel. So if you haven't watched it, then you can stop this stream now and watch the first video, but now today I will just show you how to add an app and show the ad in our app. So to start with adding an app to Google AdMob, first of all we need to go to our Google AdMob account, which I have here. So what is the main point of ads? Well, ads basically gives you money, and therefore you can earn some money because some users can interact with ads or basically see those ads. And as you can see, I have some small earnings here. Of course, if you at the beginning, this money is not as big, but yeah, still low amount of money than nothing. But it's really helpful to just have ads, because you have just extra money for nothing. Anyway, first of all we need to add an app, and to do that we click apps, add app, and now we select the platform we are interested for. As you know, I was doing the app for Android platform, and is the app listed on the supported app store. As you remember, yesterday I released an app to production. However, it's still under review, so it's still not listed in the production on the Play Store. Therefore, I click no, and if I click continue, I need to put an app name, which can be like Torchlight. And also I can check if I can use user metrics for some extra statistics about Google Play and Firebase data. However, we do not use any Firebase data now, so we can just uncheck it. However, I've already created this Torchlight application on Google AdMob account a few hours before the stream, but basically I did the same like I showed you here. So I can go back and I can click cancel. So now if we go back to the agenda, I just showed you how to add an app to Google AdMob, and just to be honest with you, I couldn't show you the whole process of adding my app in the Google AdMob, because each app in the Google AdMob has its own unique ID, which basically should not be shown to other people, because whenever you show your app ID from Google AdMob, then other people can just reuse it in their configuration in their Android apps, and therefore can send like a lot of requests for requesting the ad to be shown. And therefore, because of Google AdMob policy and terms, your Google AdMob account can be blocked because of the for harming the policy of showing ads. And therefore, I recommend you to not show your app and ad units IDs to anyone, because we shouldn't trust people about that topic, and there can be some cheeky people that can just reuse your IDs, and because they want to make you problems basically. Anyway, if you think that what I've shown is not enough, there you can also check the official YouTube tutorial from official Google AdMob, and here they basically show how to add Google AdMob account, how to add an app into your Google AdMob account. So yeah, if we just
in the
play,
sidebar, then
there.
click the blue Add an App button.
That's
A dialog box with the
you,
question.
But here, of course, there are a little bit differences. I probably because it's 2 years video. However,
Have you published your app on Google
the
Play
logic is the
or the
same.
App Store? Will appear.
And here they will just
in this scenario,
show you the
since you've
example that
already
it's
published the app,
on Google
you'll
Play.
click Yes. Enter the name of your app and hit Search. A list of apps will appear. Scroll through the results to find your app and then click Add beside the app that you want to add.
So as you can see here, here is the app ID that they have in the example. So this ID is the ID that I told you about, and you shouldn't share it with anyone. Okay, so if we go back to our Google AdMob account, there you can see that I have my torchlight created, and what can I do now? I can create an add unit, and to do that I can just click add unit, and here I can select what type of ad I want to add. There's like a banner ad, which is like the most popular type of ads, I think. Interstitial ad, which is like a full page ad. It can be either a video or image, like between page transitions. However, we will not use that in our video. We will use the banner ad, but I will just shortly talk about a different ad. There's a rewarded interstitial ad. That basically is whenever you have like a game or an app with rewards, and you want to reward user because he took some actions in your app, then basically you can put the rewarded interstitial ad, and whenever user finishes watching the ad, then you can make some other actions like give the user coins in some game or whatever you want to have a reward for a user. It's pretty similar. The rewarded ad, pretty much the same. Native balanced, which is more customizable, like banner app, but more customizable, like you can create your custom shapes. And app open, so the ad that can be shown whenever your app is opening. Yeah, so basically instead of loading a screen, so splash screen that I showed you yesterday. But we will select the banner ad, so let's select it. So here we can put a banner name, add unit name, which will be like main banner, let's call it like that. Advanced settings, we can pick up if it's a video or text, image, and rich media. We want all, automatic refresh. I prefer Google optimized, and the same with the optimization. So yeah, I always put the all prices here, and I recommend you to do that. So because the other options are just in the beta phase, so there's always something that can go wrong. And if I would click create add unit, then I would see a text explaining that I should use this application ID that I've told you that you shouldn't share it, and also there will be like an add unit specific ID, which will be different than app ID, because each add unit has its own unique identifier as well, and you shouldn't share it as well. So therefore I will create it now. However, I will create it on the second screen so that you don't see it. So therefore
easy to identify name
you will
to your
see
ad
something
unit
like,
and click on how to edit.
you will see something like this. So that will tell you what is the application ID that you should copy, and also you should copy the ad unit ID, and we will use the application ID in our Android settings and also the ad unit ID, but that would be strictly in Flutter configuration. Okay, so let me just finish this create ad unit thing. Yeah, and I have now the same screen, but of course I cannot show you. I will just yeah, have it minimized. So basically that's really easy process, as you can see, of adding the ad unit and application in Google AdMob in just few clicks, and yeah, that's it. Of course there are some other things that are kind of important, like let me just open it. So apart from app and ad unit, you also need to set up your app ads txt, which is basically it lets advertisers know which ad sources are authorized to sell ad inventory, and basically it's just a one line of text that it can be easily set up, and you can see that by clicking how to set up app ads ID. However, there is also some kind of ID there that I won't like to share you. I don't like to share you. I wouldn't like to share you because yeah, it's also kind of a secret, and yeah, I would need to then remove that from that video. And that app ads txt needs to be found on your URL that you put on your application settings in Google Play console. So when you, as I showed you yesterday, I put Pack Software github.io as the site of the Torchlight. So whenever the Torchlight will be on the Google Play Store on production, then I don't need to do anything because the app ads txt is there, and the app ads txt is just Google AdMob account specific and not application specific. So you don't need to worry when you use the same site for different applications. So yeah, that's about setting up Google AdMob. So now what we need to do, we need to integrate our Google AdMob in our application. And first of all, we need to integrate the Android settings. And to do that, there is an official documentation as for everything for Android, or most things in Android. So as you can see, there's a Google AdMob mobile ads SDK that we need to integrate with our Android. And for the first thing, well, we need to be sure that our min SDK version is 19 or higher, and the compiled SDK version is 28 or higher, and that's build.gradle file that I will show you in a second, because we need to be sure that our build.gradle file on our project level has those Google and Maven central repositories, and also that our build.gradle file from the app folder has the dependency of the Google Play Services ads. And also the third thing would be to add the this fragment to our Android manifest.xml settings file as well. And remember that this is not Flutter specific thing, this is just Android specific thing that you would need to do. We would need to do anyway if you would use different technology than Flutter for programming your Android applications. And to do that, well, let's go back to our code. Let's just zoom it a little bit. So first of all, let's just open build.gradu file, but not from the application folder, app folder, but from the main Android folder. And here we need to be sure that we have Google and Maven Central in all projects repositories node, and also in the build script repositories node. And as we can see, we already have it. So if we go back to our tutorial, then we don't need to do anything more from the first step. However, we would need to do the second step. Let's just copy the implementation of Google Play Services Ads dependency, and let's go back to our code, and let's go back to our build.gradu file from the app folder. And here we should have the dependencies at the bottom. So we need to just add another implementation. And of course, before we save anything and commit, I would recommend you to change the branch, because now it's the release 1.0, but we are doing another release, which we will then therefore release on production, which we will name release.1.1. And now let's save it, and let's go back to our official documentation, how to set up the Google Mobile Ads SDK. And the last thing is to basically add the one XML node to our manifest node, and we should go to the Android manifest.xml. So maybe we can copy the whole thing. We can go back to the code, and we should look for the Android manifest file. Of course, we need to go to the main one, because the debug one is only valid whenever we are in a debug mode. However, the debug is therefore matched to the main Android manifest.xml, and whenever we are in the debugging mode, then also the settings from main are taken into account, and also from the debug. So here, if we go a little bit down, we can see the manifest that is here, the application that is ended, and if we go back to the documentation, we can see that this metadata node is actually within the application. So let's just copy the metadata node, and let's go back to our Android manifest, and let's just add the metadata just before the end of the application node in our XML file. And here, as you can see, we have the ID. Here we should put the ID of the application that was actually generated by Google AdMob, and that's the ID that I didn't want to show you, and that you should put there. As you can see here, there's just a sample ID here, and I will do that later. And of course you won't see that so because you won't see the real ID of my application. Anyway, if we go back to the documentation, we can see that actually it's kind of all of the steps that we should take into Android. Here there are the steps that we should make when we are programming in Java or Kotlin, but we are using Flutter, and so we are using the Dart language, and therefore instead of initializing the Google Mobile Ads SDK in Java or Kotlin, it's better to initialize it through the Dart code. And to do that, we need to also install the Google Mobile Ads dependency, which is of course from pub.dev site. And to do that, we obviously need to run the Flutter code, which is flutter pub at Google Mobile Ads. We can just copy it. We go back to our terminal, of course, we need to go to the YouTube flashlight folder where our Flutter root project is, the root folder of our Flutter project. And now if we paste our command and press enter, then we should wait until our dependency is resolved. And by the Dart extension, the Flutter pub-get is running. But of course, if you don't have the Dart extension, that I would recommend you to install anyway, you should just type Flutter pub-get and press enter again. Now we are able to use our Google Mobile Ads SDK. So basically now we are at the last step of integrated Google Mobile App AdMob in app, and therefore let's go back to our dependency official documentation, and here if we go to the README section, you have the for instruction on how to use the plugin, please refer to the developer guides of AdMob and Ad Manager. So because we are using AdMob, we'll click AdMob here. And here you have also the Mobile Ads SDK for Flutter documentation that you should follow, and you should always be stick to that documentation. And of course there are some requirements for this SDK. Yeah, as you can see, the compile SDK version needs to be 28 or higher, and of course we can check that by going to the build.grado file and go back, and yeah, here there's the Flutter target SDK version, which yes, it's basically determined by Flutter, and it's mainly the version of most stable Android version that is taken by Flutter. However, we can change that to 33, so this is the Android 13, and we can save it. And our min SDK version is already 21, so it's more than 19, and therefore we can use it. So let's just minimize it for now. And here, yeah, you have also the same thing that you need to do as I showed you for the official Android integration documentation. And here is just basically the same thing that you need to pass in your Android manifest.xml. And now you can initialize the Mobile Ads SDK in Flutter, in Dart code. And as you can see, this needs to be done in your main.dart file, in your main function. And the thing that needs to be done is that we need to add mobile ads instance .initialize function after widgets Flutter binding ensure initialized. And widget Flutter binding .ensure initialized is also kind of important function for Flutter, and I think I use it in every application I've made. This needs to be initialized before other extensions are initialized. So we need to copy those two lines, go back to our Flutter project. So we need to go to the main.dart file, and now we go up to our main method, and we basically pass the code from the documentation. Of course, mobile ads is not recognized because that's from the package that we have just already added. So we need to add the import, and to do that, there's a quick fix auto suggestion from our Flutter extension that says that we need to add the package Google Mobile Ads, and basically that's it. To be absolutely sure that the mobile ads is initialized, we can also add the asynchronous word, because as you can see, the initialize function returns a future, which means that it's asynchronous operation. And to wait until the mobile ads are initialized, we can just put a wait here. So now we are sure that before running the app, our ads SDK is initialized and everything should be working. Okay, so now we can just make a commit, which will be Google Mobile Ads SDK initialization. So let's just commit the stages and publish the new 1.1 branch with that commit. And now we can just close this for now. Close build.gradle, we will not need that anymore. So now if we go back to our agenda, we have already filled out those 3 points, and now we will make our actual UI, the most interesting part of the stream. So we'll make our banner to be shown in our application. And basically, as you remember, and those who don't remember can just go back to the first tutorial where I programmed all the UI of the application. Well, maybe I can change this to this. So basically our app looks like this. So on the